I mean, look at her. She's got elbow cleavage. You know that little wrinkle that fat people get on their elbows? It looks like a schwa. I mean, you wouldn't have sex with her, would you?
Hell no.
It's the Cooper and Anthony Show.
Before I even go into this story and you start yelling at me that we're talking about Kim and Kanye and Pete Davidson. No, this list, I hear you already. I know. I'm not going into it because I want to talk about that little menage a trois going on between the three of them in length. Or I want to talk about the concept because I think it pertains to all of us. I think, a lot of the times when you and I talk about celebrity, we don't really care about the celebrity thing, right? That's the whole idea of celebrity. It's not that we care about celebrity. It's the fact that there's something relatable about it that we can talk about our lives. And that's kind of where I'm going with this. So just have some patience with me while I explain a little bit about the Kim, Kanye, and Pete Davidson thing. And then I will get to the part that's about you. And when I say you, I mean you, the listener, and me.
Not me.
No, you also. All of us. It's about all of us. Yeah, it's a microcosm for all of us. So in case you have not been following the drama, I don't know how you haven't. It's literally everywhere. But maybe you're tuned out. But maybe you're like, you know what? If I hear the name Kim Kardashian again, I'm just going to blow my gasket. Okay, so what's been going on since Kim and Pete Davidson have been dating is Kanye is losing his mind. And he moved to a house nearby, and people have been accusing him of like the kind of stalking and behavior.
It's been gone for a good 2 years.
Right.
So I think this just pushed him over the edge, but he was walking that ledge for a couple of years now.
Yeah. Well, it's gotten so bad. The way he's been going after Pete Davidson and Pete and Kim relentlessly, like in his latest songs and then on social media and his friends on social media, whatever, because everyone's like, I'm not on social media anymore, but yet, somehow you are. So Kim Kardashian, I guess, had texted Kanye, and Kanye posted this, which is how we know. She said, "You are creating a dangerous and scary environment, and someone will hurt Pete, and this will all be your fault."
Mm-hmm.
So Kanye screen capped that, posted it, and wrote, "Upon my wife's request," still calling her his wife, by the way, they're fully divorced, "please nobody do anything physical to Skeet." That's what he refers to Pete Davidson as. "I'm going to handle the situation myself." Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That does not seem to be enough. So Pete Davidson, who has been kind of checked out of this whole thing and letting Kim handle it, which is where my question to you is coming, decided that he was going to go after Kanye himself. And he goes, "Yo, it's Skeet. Can you please take a second and calm down? It's 8 a.m. It doesn't have to be like this. Kim is literally the best mother I've ever met. What she does for those kids is amazing. You are so effing lucky that she's your kid's mom. I've decided I'm not going to let you treat us this way anymore, and I'm done being quiet. Grow the F up." So Kanye writes back and says, "Oh, you're using profanity? Where are you right now?" So Pete Davidson sends a photo of himself laying in bed with his tongue out, making a peace sign, "In bed with your wife." Which was, I have to say, that's kind of poking the bear. That was the wrong message to send. So Kanye writes back, "Happy to see you're out of the hospital and out of rehab." So they go back and forth a little bit, but then basically Pete Davidson says to him, he's standing up for himself, standing up for Kim. You got to stop this. This is really getting out of hand. And I understand mental health issues. I've had them my whole life. Let me help you. It's not so bad to ask for help. So let me help you. Well, you and I should sit down man to man and talk this out. So Kanye says, "You want to see me? Come to Sunday service." The thing he does every Sunday in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So Pete's like, "Listen, you have no idea how nice I've been to you despite your actions. I've stopped SNL from talking about you or making fun of you, which they've wanted to do for months. I've stopped stand-up comedians from doing bits about you because I don't want the father of my girl's kids to look bad out there. I have your back, even though you treat me like garbage.
I'm your buddy.
But if you continue to press me like you have for the past 6 months, I'm going to stop being nice." And Kanye's response has just been like, "You want to see me, bitch? Come to Sunday service." And Pete is like, "We got to stop doing this publicly. Let's sit down like men. So, okay, that's enough of them. Here's my question to you. I've got two questions for you. The first one is, whose battle is this? Should a boyfriend be stepping in between a wife and an ex-husband to get involved with whatever drama? Take out the fact that they're celebrities. Everyone goes through this where you're going through a divorce and you get divorced and one of you is dating somebody new and the old person flips the hell out. So the question is, should the new boyfriend step in and get involved? Should the woman who's at the center of it all, be the one? Or should there be a restraining order and let the police handle it? Like, what would you do in a situation like this if this was your life?
All right. No, he has to step in because I guarantee that's all she talks about. And it's nonstop, and he just wants her mouth to be doing something else. It's a new relationship. I want the mouth to stop talking and be busy doing something else. So stop it. Pete should have got on a plane, knocked on his door, and said, dude, we're going to finish this. We're going to figure this out. This is not going on anymore. She is driving me crazy. She's hot as hell, but she's making me mad. And you have to stop it.
But flip the script for a second, okay? It's easy for Pete because he's the one that has that won. He's the one that gets to have sex with Kim Kardashian every day, or whoever the situation is. Like, that's the guy that gets to be with the woman, in that two men both want. When you're the one, to the victor go the spoils. When you're the person that won, it's easy to be like, hey man, let's talk this out. Hey man, let's try to work something out here. It's like, of course, because you get to go home and sleep with the woman in question. The person who's been jilted, and the person who has been broken up with and who's still hurting and still in a lot of pain and is super duper jealous, that person is not going to be very receptive to the guy. I feel like it's the woman that has to step in and be like, it's over between us. And if you like, we could never speak again. We could speak through lawyers. You can come see the kids when it's your turn to see the kids, but I won't be here. I'll have my mom here or somebody else here, but I will never speak to you or see you again. If this is how you're going to be. Like, I feel like there has to be some consequences, but it has to be the woman making the consequence. I feel like the boyfriend should shut the F up.
I know, but that's all you're hearing, and you just want there to be peace in your relationship, and you're not going to get it until he stops. And I'm sorry you don't have her and you're not sleeping with her. You had your shot. You screwed it up.
Right, that's true.
And now it's my turn. So now that it's my turn, this is how it's going to be. Because we're going to end up fighting. That's just it's how it's going to happen. I'm going to show up on your doorstep.
That's what I'm saying. I've watched so many of these murder shows. This is like the beginning of a murder show. This is exactly what happens in a murder show. And they always blame the new person. It's like, I'm not in charge of your relationship. You had a relationship. It's over. It had nothing to do with it. I didn't even know you then. So I think when you're the new person, when you're the Pete Davidson of any relationship, I think you got to stay out of it. That is not your fight. You're only going to make things worse. And I know that, like, people were tweeting stuff like, oh, this is why women love Pete Davidson. He steps in. He's the knight in shining armor. That's insulting. That says that a woman can't handle anything for herself. So I don't like that either. So I feel like Kim needs to man up. Pete Davidson doesn't need to man up. Kanye doesn't need to man up. Kim needs to man up and say to Kanye, that's enough. That's enough.
If you don't stop, I'm going to block you. And when I block you from our kids. So if you want to continue to do this, it's very easy to block you out of my life.
Well, you can't block them from the kid. You can't. See, this is the problem with divorce. The kids end up being the ones who pay the price. No, the kids have every right to see their father. That's off the table. I think she should block him from seeing her, from talking to her, for anything to do with her. So when it's her weekend and she has a birthday party for North, Kanye is no longer invited. He can do something on his own weekend.
No. You are now blocked from my life. You can no longer contact me. When you want to see the kids, here is my lawyer that you contact.
That's what I just said.
I know, but I don't want any contact at all from me or the kids. I don't want to know about it. I just want to know where to drop them off.
That should come from the woman. That should not come from the new boyfriend. I think the new boyfriend is overstepping his bound. He's been with her for 6 months. Kanye's been with her for years. Think of it like that. Okay, so think of you are with somebody for 10 years, you get divorced, and some guy she's been dating for 6 months is stepping up to you? I don't think so. Step down, little man. Like, I'm going to handle this with my wife of 10 years.
Right. But it never stops. It's all she talks about.
It's tough. I'm telling you, like, that's okay. So that's what you get for dating a woman that just got divorced.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that Kim should say to Pete, this is not your game. This is not your fight. This is not your war. I've known you for 6 months.
I saw a bunch of photos of her with the kids, and the whole time she's doing duck face in the back. I'm like, seriously? It's a family photo. Stop it with the duck face.
Thing. I know. She is duck face. That's her. Remember, she has the whole selfie book. But here's the thing. So when I got divorced and I started dating my boyfriend afterwards, my ex-husband had not found a new woman yet. He didn't have a new girl yet. Mm-hmm. He does now, but he didn't then. And my boyfriend would have never in a million years said anything to my ex-husband. He gave me advice. He's like, if I were you, here's how I'd handle this. Or, the next time Sean calls, just tell him X, Y, and Z. Like, he would give me advice to not escalate any situation that was arising.
You comparing Sean Lee to Kanye West?
Yes, I am.
They couldn't be two different people.
I divorced the nicest guy on the planet.
You cannot compare those two at all.
That's true.
They both have CDs and albums. That's the only time you can compare them.
That's true.
Other than
they
that,
both make music. Yeah.
Yeah, they're two totally different people.
Well, not really, because, they both have mental health issues that the significant other had to deal with. And as a result, when you're negotiating a divorce, you don't want to make the person who has the mental health issues life worse. You want to try to help that person. You don't want to try to make their life sadder and harder. So I did take advice from my boyfriend who had dealt with very close relatives in his life who also had mental health issues. So I took advice from him, and I'm glad that I did. But he would have never in a million years been the one to call Sean and be like, all right, here's what you do, or text him. Like, that would have never happened in a million years because it's not his place. Different
people.
It's not his place.
If Sean was a complete wacko, I guarantee Joe would have said something.
Directly to him? No, I don't think he would have.
I think he would have.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, no. Even when you got divorced from Sean, you were still better friends than when Kim and Kanye were married.
Even when I got divorced, my boyfriend was better friends with Sean than when Kim and Kanye were married.
Yeah, so
I would come home all the time and they'd be sitting on the couch watching baseball.
Two totally different people.
I know. It's not about different people. It's about whose job it is to negotiate the after divorce proceedings. And I think it's just the couple. They should just talk to each other. Mm-hmm. Also, because you don't want to start a relationship on the back of another one. You just don't.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger issue.
Right. Yeah, the fact that Kim Kardashian couldn't be alone for 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Or Pete. Neither one of them. I think there are two different types of people in the world. I think that it's the people that cannot be alone for 1 second and the people that love being single. There's no middle ground. There's no, I kind of want to be with somebody, but I don't want to be. You're either one or the other.
Right. I agree. I agree with that for the most part. But for Pete Davidson, he's somebody who was always like geeky and nerdy and weird, and women weren't all that interested in him. I mean, they kind of were, but once he got Cassie David, once he was dating Larry David's daughter, he was probably like, oh, ka-ching. And then suddenly all these like super hot women wanted him. And he was like, wait, what? I mean, it's literally like when you're just starving and you walk into a grocery store and you want to like, I want to eat that. 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 Do you know what I mean? So once you've eaten a burrito, you're like, okay, now I want a taco. Okay, now I want a candy bar. Okay, now I want some chicken. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that he's just there's somebody even more beautiful than Kim Kardashian who's already made it known to Pete Davidson that when he's done with Kim Kardashian,
she's in his DMs right now.
She's in his DMs right now, and she's like, boo, say the word. So I think he's the only exception to the rule. I think the rest of us, yes. I mean, I'm somebody, I admit it, I'm somebody, I do not like to be alone at all. At all. Like, I don't like to not be in a relationship, and I also don't like being, like, my boyfriend's at the theater tonight. I also don't like, I'll get off the podcast with you, and then I'll have to, like, sit here for a couple hours and wait for him. I don't even like that.
Yeah, and you'll turn on every light on in the house.
Every light, every TV. I'll call somebody just so I'll have a voice on the phone. Yeah, I don't like being alone for 2 seconds. And if anything happened to him, if he dumped me tomorrow, I would be on whatever, Plenty of Fish, Bumble, immediately.
I reckon we can talk. You can talk all the hell you want, but I ain't a listener.
The Cooper and Anthony Show.
Found a couple of stories today where I think we did slide into a alternate universe at some point last week, because none of these stories make sense. It's going to make you say, now that doesn't seem right.
Okay.
Like the first one, Californians are fleeing California to go to Mexico because it's more affordable.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that. I've got a really good friend who was working in California. He's working in LA. He had a business, and he's like, you know what? I got to move this business somewhere I can afford because his rent went up, all of his costs went up, and he's literally moving to Mexico to reopen his business. And it's funny, his partner happens to be Mexican, and he made him come here. Now the partner's like, we're going back home.
We're going back.
We're going back. And they're so smart to do that because there are enough tourists and enough, online shopping type stuff. So I have a friend who's doing that right now. It's not unreasonable.
Yeah, it's kind of like South Park, where they had an episode where everybody was jumping the wall the other way.
Right, exactly.
No, stay out. No, we have to go back. Another story today. The Taliban calls for Russian-Ukraine peace because they fear for the civilians.
What?
Somebody woke up the Taliban. Now they're saying Russia and Ukraine need to have peace because they fear for the civilians.
Are you sure it's not like some rapper whose new name is Taliban and it's not? Because there's no way that's the actual Taliban. There's no way that's possible. I can't imagine that's true.
They're upset they're not in the news. That's the problem. So the war's not good when they came out against it.
Yeah, when the Taliban is like, kids, stop. Yeah.
The Batman movie.
Yeah, the Batman.
In Texas, they had to pause the movie during one showing. Why?
I don't know why.
Because a real bat flew into the theater.
Were people like, wow, this is so realistic. They have it in sense around now.
This is like 6D.
Well, he heard the Batman and he was like, this is awesome. They're finally making a movie about. I wrote this movie and sent it to Warner Brothers. I want to see how well they did.
It's either about me or somebody I know. So so why can't I go see it? New York City man rescued twice in 2 days on Arizona hikes. So
oh, yeah. Wait, okay. So in this guy's defense, only because I've seen him since he's from New York, I've seen him interviewed a million times. Here's what he claims. So the first time he called 911, he didn't need to be rescued. He was just lost and he was asking directions. The second time he realized that he was stuck and needed to be rescued. So he's claiming that even though he called 911 twice, one time was just asking directions, which, for men is like, he couldn't believe he had to ask for directions. And then the second time he was like, help me.
Yeah, he needs to go back. If Arizona confuses you, you need to go back and get on.
That's true.
Get on the J train. So you can't handle this state. Go away. Billy Joel biopic is coming.
Oh, they've been talking about this for a long time. Who's playing Billy Joel?
Don't know yet. It's been greenlit. So they said, yeah, we can do the movie. The movie company said, yeah, we'll greenlight the movie, but we can't have any Billy Joel music. We can't have the likeness of Billy Joel, and we can't have the name rights.
Okay, so it's just going to be called biopic.
Yeah. So it's going to be a guy that doesn't look like Billy Joel. Might not even be a guy. It doesn't have his music, has music that kind of sounds like it, and you can't call it Billy Joel. It could be Illy Goal or something. I don't know.
It's going to be starring Sandra Bullock.
As Billy Joel. Yeah.
No, you can't use Billy Joel.
Oh, see, but it's not going to make any sense.
Wait a second. So how do you do a biopic about Billy Joel if you can't use his name, his music, or his likeness?
That's why it's a different universe. Doesn't make any sense. None of these make sense.
It's just a story about a sad guy who once dated a supermodel.
And wrote really great songs and was the number one artist in the world for a long time.
I don't think you can even say that.
He plays piano.
Probably can't say that either.
No,
you got to find a different instrument.
It can't be called a piano man. It'll be like, that's why it's going to be Sandra Bullock. It's going to be Piano Woman.
Oh, but it can't be a piano, like the tuba woman.
Tuba woman. Synthesizer woman.
The new movie Tuba Woman is actually about Billy Joel.
But we can't say that. Only people can say that online, and that's all. And the last story that will make you say, huh, what? No, that can't be real. How I got my sister pregnant.
What? Excuse me?
With the blessing of her husband, the pastor.
Is this a made-for-TV movie? This actually happened.
This actually happened. This is in the WFMZ news.
That's not real news.
It is real news. It's Channel 69.
See, it's not real news.
It is.
It's a porn channel you found. That's that whole like stepbrother stepsister fetish. Don't bring your porn here.
Look,
like it's real life.
Look, it's Channel 69 news. How I got my sister pregnant with the blessings of her husband, the pastor. And look at the photo of the sister and brother. They look very happy and very close. This happened in Oregon.
Okay, stop. They're not related. The brother was adopted.
Still a brother.
I know, but they're not biologically related. The whole reason why brothers and sisters can't have sex and shouldn't have sex is because it's very icky. Yes, it's incest and it's illegal, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that the genetics are all messed up and you can have kids that have real genetic problems and real physical issues. But this in particular is a brother who was adopted. So they're not biological brothers and sisters. But it sounds like there's gonna be a TV show based on them.
And it's icky.
Yeah, it's still kind of icky.
You want it? Yes. You got it.
It's the Cooper and Anthony Show.
There's a woman in Great Britain, a British mom, and I'm not going to show you a picture because she's super hot. And if I show you the mom, you're going to be so focused on her you won't be able to hear the story. Okay. So this is actually really interesting. She has an app where she basically deals with. She has this business that's an app that she deals with sex toys and sexual wellness and stuff like that. And she has like sex therapists and she's very open about sexual pleasure for adults. But she started realizing that her 14-year-old son and her 16-year-old son were being given either misinformation about sex or they had questions that were just not being answered anywhere. So if you think about it, like at school, they teach you the basics. They teach you this is a uterus. Mm-hmm. These are ovaries. Like, here's how babies are made. They teach you the basics, but they don't answer the questions that kids really have. Like, how do you initiate sex? What is a girl asked me to finger her? What is that? How do you undo a bra? Like, the things that
I still don't know any of those.
Well, yeah, that's true. But think about the kind of sex you had as a teenager that you don't have as an adult. Like there's certain things that teenagers do that are very teenage behaviors, but they don't know much about it. Like, how do you ask for consent? Mm-hmm. After you've done something with a girl, how do you ask, was that right? Was that okay? How do you... as an adult, it's very easy to say, like, move to the right a little more, or that hurt, or don't do this, or do that a little more. But when you're a teenager, you don't feel comfortable saying, that's not how I like it. Or
And you don't even know what you like.
Right. You're just discovering. You're just learning. You know what I mean? So what this mom realized is that her teenage sons had real questions, like real world questions and real things that teenagers truly need to know above and beyond how to get pregnant, how to use a condom, when to use a condom, which is basically the extent of sex education in most schools. So she came up with something that is called a first-time sex starter kit.
Okay.
It's brilliant. It's so brilliant, I think, because she's asking, like, she answers questions in this starter kit, like, how do you choose the right partner? What's the best way to ask for feedback? The guide features advice on oral sex, actual sex, like the different places you can put things. I'll put it that way. Consent, hand jobs, things that kids are into.
The kids nowadays, they're into that hand job thing. Back in our day, we didn't even have hand jobs. You kids and your hand jobs. Here's a starter kit.
But what she realized, see, because she works in the sex industry, now she's not a sex worker, but she sells like sex toys and sex wellness and things like that. What she realized is because her kids' friends were also asking her questions because they know that she does this for a living and they're very comfortable having these conversations at her house. So her kids and their friends were asking all these questions that some of them were like really innocuous, like what's a French kiss and how do you do it? And how do you know that she wants to be French kissed? And when does it go from regular kissing to French kissing? And, like real questions that teenagers have. So that's what helped her put it together. And what she said was the way the boys were learning, they were learning from porn. They were looking at porn, and
Right.
she's like, a lot of that porn is not educational. It's not realistic. It's not an educational tool. Porn is for another purpose, to discover if you have and what if you have a kink? How do you know you have a kink? Like just things that kids might find, things that might come up in their lives as they're exploring themselves sexually. So she has a starter kit, and I think it's really brilliant.
No, I think you should just figure it out. That's the fun part of it. Just figure it out. Get a girl or a guy that has no idea what they're doing, and y'all just figure it out together.
Yes and no. I remember like when I was first fooling around with boys, and the biggest problem that boys had, I noticed, because we weren't having sex yet, but they would do like the dry hump thing.
Right.
And they would end up like with a rash, because like rubbing against your jeans is probably not very good for your
okay, but
anatomy.
That's how you learn. You do it. I'm not going to say once and you never do it again. You do it like 55 times. and then you figure it out. So even if your friend's mom tells you not to do it, you're still going to do it. It's just going to be 54 times instead of 55.
No, but she should explain that that's totally normal. And maybe next time you should have a little, just make sure you moisturize afterwards. Just give them some advice or something.
Oh, trust me, they are. They go home and they moisturize. Trust me on this.
They go through bottles and bottles of Lubriderm, yeah.
The minute we get home, soft. Your hands were never softer. So you just got to figure it out yourself.
Well, did your sons ever ask you questions when they were...
I don't even know. Don't even ask.
Are you serious? Like when your sons were teenagers and first discovering their sexual sides, they never asked you any questions at all?
No. I didn't ask my parents.
I know, but you're a different generation than your parents.
No, they didn't ask. And I would have said, no, I don't know. Go look it up. That's what Google is for. See, because they came up in a different world. They have Google. We had to go to the library. and find that book that's always checked out at the library.
No, I never went to a library. I used to ask Stacy. She knew everything. She had older brothers and sisters, and she was like really racy, and she was already having sex. So I was like, okay, time to ask Stacy.
Yeah, so I would have to ask friends too, or I don't even think I asked friends. I think I just learned as I went, kind of like riding a bike. You know, I fell off a bunch of times, but I got right back on. So now I think
you're not supposed to fall off.
Oh yeah, I did. But now I think kids have Google and they have different websites they can go to, and that's how they learn.
Right, YouTube and things like that. But yeah, I mean, there are enough YouTube channels that if they want to know more intimate things, I guess there are. But I just feel like, I don't know. I would, I didn't have kids. I didn't want kids, but if I had kids, I would want my kids to be able to ask me anything. I would have a monthly AMA sesh with them.
If I'm your dad, do you want to ask me questions like that? You think I got the answers?
Well, the problem was my mom didn't have a lot of sexual experience, so I didn't trust her answer because she didn't do very much. I asked my grandmother because my grandmother was a whore. Like, I learned everything about blowjobs from my grandmother. Like, she's the one who, it's so funny because she said to me, she goes, in my day, the girls who used their mouths were considered like only prostitutes did that. She's like, it's not true.
Yeah, but see, now you wouldn't ask grandma, you go to YouTube. So,
right, that's true.
I think the computer is there, and thank God the computer is there because I didn't want to answer any of those questions because I don't really know.
Didn't you want to know what your kids were doing?
No, God, no. No. I don't want to know. No, they're in your head. They're still 10 years old.
I see. Okay.
So they're never going to be, older than 10.
Right. Got it.
So if they're doing that, then they have to go to jail. Because it's not good.
And if they ask you, then you do.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you because I'm going to act like I don't hear you. I'm going to walk out of the room.
Maybe I'll be in jail.
I'm going to walk out of the room like I didn't hear anything you said.
The greatest find yet. I want to hear them, and I want to hear them now.
The Cooper and Anthony Show.
You guys suck!
Thank you.
So you know how I love The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
Mm-hmm.
It's currently on Prime, right? It's like the season is unfolding. What they're doing is every Friday they release 2 more episodes, is how they're handling it. And like, I get that it's TV and I get that it's supposed to be taking place in like the 60s or whatever, but there are certain things that are just true that I'm really getting sick of movies and TV shows trying to sell us cliches that are just so untrue. Like, there's this one scene where it's snowing and it's like super cold and there's a snowstorm and she's just kind of like running through the snow and she's wearing like a mini skirt and heels. Like, I live in New York. You're not running through the snow in heels. Like, okay, it's bad enough that you're in a mini skirt, you're probably very cold, but she wasn't acting cold and she wasn't slipping around like crazy in a pair of heels running up 6th Avenue. So I just feel like there's so many cliches that movies and TV shows do that I think it's time we called them out.
So she didn't just come out of a car or come out of a house. She's been walking around New York barely dressed in the winter.
Yeah. And she comes out of, like, what happens is she has to abscond from this. There's a raid at the strip club that she's a comedian and she's doing comedy at a strip club. And the strip club gets raided and she goes running out and she runs out into a snowstorm and she's just running in heels like it's no big deal. Like, I'm sorry. New York is really slippery. There's grates. There's all kinds of things. You're not running in heels on a normal day, let alone in a snowstorm.
Sometimes it's hard to suspend reality is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of those things that I was so distracted by her running in heels that I don't even know what the rest of the scene was about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I missed the dialogue. I missed the scene. I was like, "What? She can't. Those are heels. This is New York. What?" Yeah, it was. I found it very distracting. So I thought about some other cliches we see in movies that would never be true in real life. Like, for example, don't you always see movies where somebody goes over a cliff or over a building and you can hold their entire weight with one arm? You can't hold someone's entire weight with one arm.
I think if you had it, I think the adrenaline pumps in and you might be able to.
What do you weigh?
Well, you're not holding me.
No, in a movie, I would be. In a movie, you'd fall off a cliff and I'd have to be holding you with one arm. What do you weigh? You weigh more than 200 pounds?
Right. So you got to hold me up. You better hold me up. You better not let me go. Or I'm going to come back and haunt you.
I wouldn't want to let you go, but I weigh $125. I can't. I mean, I can barely
brace yourself.
Okay.
You better not let me go. I'll be like, bitch, you don't let go of my hand. Back up. Because you see dogs save people on movies because they back up and they pull you up. So I believe that.
Right. Also another cliche that CPR can bring anybody back to life no matter what happened to them.
Every time somebody dies on house, they always bring them back. Their heart stops and they go the clear thing.
Uh-huh.
And it always, like, one or two times they're back alive. So I'm like,
right, you get hit,
why does anybody die? How does anybody die?
No, that they don't. That's the whole point. Unless the storyline is that they die, but in real life, you would. Like, CPR doesn't bring you back if you've been hit by a truck.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or if you fell off a building, or if you were shot. But like in a movie, just do CPR and the person will come right around. No problem.
Yeah, you need that clear thing. The clear thing. I'm thinking now that you can bring the clear thing to a wake.
Yeah, right. And my favorite thing. So in that same vein, dying people are alert. They're oriented. They can talk until they murmur that one last word. Mm-hmm. And there's two problems with that. One is if you're dying, you're not like, hey, everybody, I'm fine. Oh, oop, I'm dead. It doesn't work like that.
It's my time.
Right. It's my time to.
I love you. Oh.
Right. And what's interesting about. Oh, wait, they're back. No problem.
I thought you were dying. I was, but the clear thing brought me back.
They did the clear thing, so I'm okay now. But yes, and what's interesting about that is that when they're dying in a movie, they say something important for somebody else's life. You know, they go, do you have any last words, Grandpa? Yes.
Let me whisper it to you in your ear.
Whisper it to you. Exactly. Tell the guy on the second floor of my building that his key is under the mat and it's okay. You know, whatever. Something has nothing to do with them, something weird and random. And what's interesting about that is we learn because of COVID. I don't know if you saw all those stories of all the COVID doctors and nurses that talked about people's last words as they were dying of COVID.
Mm.
Not one of them thought about other people. They were all thinking about themselves because that's what you're thinking about when you're dying. You can't believe this is your moment. You can't believe it. Right. You know what I mean? Unless you're completely incapacitated. But you don't, like, as you're dying, you don't go, tell my childhood boyfriend he was the best kisser. Like, no one does that. No, if they're like, oh my God, I can't believe this actually is happening. Yeah. Or please try to save me. You know, things like that is what they actually say to doctors and nurses.
Yeah, don't let go of my hand. Right. Go get the clear thing. Get the clear thing in here now.
Something else that movies and TV shows have told us that is just complete crap, that you can outrun a giant explosion.
At the last second, though, but you got to jump. You got to jump at the end. If you don't jump, then you die.
Yeah, exactly. I can't tell you how many shows that I watch where there's an explosion and the person's like, wait, oh my God, that's about to run. And they all go running and everyone's fine. You just do a little jump and then you're fine.
Well, Indiana Jones survived a nuclear bomb by jumping in a refrigerator. So I'm just thinking that all I have to do is jump into a refrigerator.
Okay, so if this whole thing in Russia goes down and it becomes a nuclear war, just get into my refrigerator?
Just live in the yeah, just take everything out now. You can be you could actually live in the freezer part.
It's true.
You would be just fine. And then your boyfriend can have the refrigerator part.
I like it nice and cold, so that actually would work out perfectly for us, our new home. Here's another one, that helicopters can sneak up out of nowhere. That's my favorite thing. You're standing on a roof and you're like, where'd the bad guy go? I don't know. Where is he? Just suddenly behind you. No.
Yeah,
no.
You can hear a helicopter from like 25 miles away.
Right. They can't sneak up on you.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is funny. Do you remember when we were talking about, was it Ocean's 8? Which one was all the women? Was that Ocean's 8?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. My favorite thing was Rihanna in it. She was the hacker.
Mm-hmm.
She would get on the computer and be like, she would tap for 30 seconds. I'm in.
I got the password. What do you need to know?
Right. Yeah, no, if you talk to actual hackers, it takes a little longer than that. It's not that easy to hack into stuff. You don't tap furiously, then suddenly, I'm in.
No, all you need is a good internet connection and a keyboard. That's pretty much all you need in a movie. As long as you have a keyboard, you can get in.
Anything. You get anything.
Anything, yeah.
You can hack into the CIA if you want to.
You can change street lights.
Right.
All you need is a keyboard.
In seconds. You could do it in seconds.
Right.
Now, this I didn't know. I have to say, this is how stupid I am. I thought if you pull a fire alarm, I thought that does set off the sprinkler system. Apparently, it doesn't.
No, two different systems.
Okay, I didn't know that. So that's one of those things that happens in movies that apparently is bullshit. I love this one. This is the big complaint with Sex and the City and Friends. They don't do anything for a living. How can they afford to live like that? People with normal jobs come home to these giant mansions. It's like, wait a minute. You're a barista. How can you afford this mansion and a butler?
Okay,
I don't get it.
So Monica's apartment, even though she was on rent control, but it was 2 bedrooms, 1 bath with a balcony. It didn't have a door, by the way. It had a balcony with a window that you had to crawl out of. So how much and what part of town were they in?
I think they were supposed to be down on Grove Street, so they were like in the West Village.
Okay, so how much
correctly.
a 2-bedroom in West Village? How much is that?
I mean, now versus the 90s, even the 90s, it wasn't cheap. In the 90s, it was probably, because that's when the show was, right? The 90s. Right. In the 90s, it was probably a couple of grand a month.
Yeah, so let's say $3,000 a month. And you're going to make that on part-time as a chef.
Right.
Because none of her roommates ever had a job.
Well, Rachel worked at Central Perk, if you remember, briefly.
As a waitress. So you got a waitress and a part-time chef. They're coming up with 3 bills a month.
Right. That's the point. They're definitely not. And same thing with Sex and the City. I mean, that was trying to be more realistic, yet Carrie was a freelance writer. I was a freelance writer back then. Mm-hmm. Writing has never paid until you write a book. Freelance writing, you get, if you're lucky, you get like maybe between $2,000 and $5,000 per article. And she didn't write that many articles a month. She had a regular column, but for that column, she got maybe a couple of $100. She was living in a brownstone on the Upper West Side. There's no way that she was able to afford a closet that big or that much clothing. That's my issue with Emily in Paris. I love the show. I think Lily Collins is adorable. She's like one of my favorites. But every day she's in a completely different outfit. She lives in a teeny little studio. Are you telling me that she cannot afford a studio, but she can afford tens of thousands of dollars of clothing per month? And then where does she put it? She's got a tiny closet and she has 365 outfits. Where do you keep all those clothes? You have to at least wear the same jacket twice, but she never does.
That's the one thing you notice. She doesn't have the closet space. For all these clothes. It's not that she can't afford them. She just doesn't have the closet space.
Also very unrealistic. And this is every show. I don't care if you're watching the new version of Gossip Girl or we're talking about like Clueless and Mean Girls from back in the day. This is true for every single Sex Education, all these shows. That high schoolers are full of gorgeous people who always have fun and always have adventures going on.
And never have zits.
And never have zits. And that the people who are mean, it's obvious who's mean, which isn't true. And that your grades will improve in the nick of time as long as you study hard the night before.
That is true. I do believe that's true.
And then finally, the last cliche that we see in movies and television that is just simply not true. Be great if it was, but it just isn't. That as long as you love somebody, like really love them, it'll all work out. You don't have to work at the relationship. you both of you don't change over time. As long as you love them, that's all that matters.
Yeah, 99% of the population believes that, except you. I'm surprised you've ever uttered the word love in your life. That's not to a thing that's standing on four legs.
Right. I have said I love you to other things, but it wasn't the same. I did lie.
Do it again. It's the Cooper and Anthony Show.
Let's see if the world agrees with you when it comes to celebrity and who is more famous.
Okay.
See if you agree with everybody else in this world. So I'm going to give you...
I'm glad you're asking me this, because just today I had a conversation with a friend of mine if Tyra Banks was more famous than Rihanna, or is Rihanna more famous than Tyra Banks?
Oh, Rihanna's more famous than Tyra Banks.
That was my argument, but they said that Tyra was a supermodel in a lot of countries all over the world. America's Next Top Model is in a million different languages, and the Tyra show is still running all over the world. So in some areas, to some people, Tyra's more famous than Rihanna. I don't think so, but okay.
Chris Hemsworth or Reese Witherspoon, are they equal or different?
No, Chris Hemsworth is more famous because of the Marvel movies, and the Marvel movies are international.
But Reese has been in movies and TV forever.
Yeah, Election and Legally Blonde. I mean, it feels like Reese Witherspoon is more famous. She has won an Oscar, but the stuff that she does is very American and very local and very like a very specific audience of women. Chris Hemsworth is famous all over the world. Plus, she's American, he's Australian, and I know who he is.
42% said Reese. So 17% said they're equal.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they're equal. So,
but he's Thor.
Yeah, but if you walk into a restaurant and he walks in and she walks in, you're going to know who she is, I think, before him.
Well, I am, because I'm a Reese Witherspoon fan and I've been watching her movies and loving every television show and everything she's done. But I'm her audience. I just think most people, especially Marvel fans, which is everybody in the world, would know Chris Hemsworth.
So this is a hard one. Dwayne Johnson, Robert Downey Jr.
Not a hard one.
Who's more famous?
Oh, maybe it is hard because, again, Robert Downey Jr.
is Iron Man.
Yeah, but The Rock is The Rock.
He's in everything.
Everything. He's the most followed celebrity on Instagram. He's in the highest grossing movies. There's a television show just based on his life. Have you watched it?
Been in the movies and TV long before The Rock was.
Yeah, but have you been watching Young Rock?
No.
It's very good. I was surprised at how much I liked it. It's really charming.
Yeah, I can't with that.
This is tough. I'm gonna say, I know Robert Downey Jr. has been famous longer, but I think other than Iron Man, I don't know what people know him for.
Mm-hmm.
Chaplin, but I don't think most people know that.
No.
I'm going to say The Rock is more famous.
Yeah, 45% of people said The Rock. And I'm thinking and 20% said equal. So I think if you're in a restaurant and The Rock walks in, you're going to notice him before you notice Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, yeah. Plus, Robert Downey Jr. doesn't look like himself in person. The Rock does.
Yeah, and he really stands out. All right, Emma Stone, Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, definitely Ryan. No one knows who Emma Stone is. I had to explain to a friend of mine who works in television who Emma Stone was because they forgot. Which one is she? Oh, she's the famous one. Like, of all the Emmas, yeah, she's the one that you should know. No, definitely not Emma Stone.
Yeah, 75% of people said Deadpool.
Yeah, definitely Deadpool, please.
All right. Ariana Grande, Rihanna.
Oh.
They're equal, or one is more famous? Or I don't know who they are.
Well, no. If you don't know who they are, you're taking the wrong quiz. No, we were just talking about that Rihanna's more famous than Tyra, but is she more famous than Ariana Grande? I'm going to say they're equal.
15% of people said equal, but 61% said Rihanna. Yeah, almost double. So Rihanna had 145,000 votes. Ariana had 54,000.
My instinct was to go with Rihanna because she does have more popularity. She's a billionaire, and Ariana Grande is not. Rihanna has her Fenty line. She's pregnant right now with A$AP Rocky's baby. Like, we care about her a lot more. You know what? I mean, Ariana Grande, amazing singer. She dated Pete Davidson. Tell me one other thing about her.
Yeah, other than the movie Up, which her part could have been cut totally. So, yeah, I don't know. Two people, Tom Hanks, Hugh Jackman.
Oh, Tom Hanks, way more famous.
Yeah, it's not even close. 82% of people said Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I mean, Hugh Jackman, other than Wolverine, what else has he done?
Yeah, this is a hard one. Bruno Mars, Ed Sheeran.
Ooh,
Both Atlantic Records, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hard one. That one could almost be their equal.
I would probably go out on a limb and say they're equal, except I think Ed Sheeran is probably more famous right now.
Yeah, 60% Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bruno Mars needs another hit album.
No, that's not what it is. It's the fact that we don't really care about Bruno Mars's personal life. We don't care who he hangs out with. We don't care about all the gossip about him. But the minute Ed Sheeran does anything, you know, the fact that he wore the engagement ring and he's friends with Taylor Swift and he's good friends with everyone from Game of Thrones. And, you know, we keep hearing little tidbits about him. Like, he makes news. Bruno Mars doesn't. He's just a musician, which is great for him, but we don't really care about who he's dating.
He's a really, really good musician, by the way.
Yeah.
You got two celebrities who's more famous, Natalie Portman, Ryan Gosling.
Neither? Is neither an option?
2% of people said, I don't know who they are.
Oh, no, but people know who they are, please. I'm going to say Natalie Portman because of all the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling, 53%.
Wow, you're kidding.
Yeah. Jennifer Lawrence, Emma Watson. I think they're equal.
They're probably... That's tough because Emma Watson is from all the Harry Potter movies. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
But Jennifer Lawrence is in so much stuff, and we care about her life and her new baby and her Oscar and...
What did the world say? Emma Watson, Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Emma Watson, number one, 46% to 41% Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, so it's pretty close.
It's pretty close. So 12% of people said they're equal. J-Lo, Lady Gaga.
That's really hard.
Yeah,
I'm going to say J-Lo. I know. J-Lo does... maybe not anymore because Lady Gaga's doing movies now. This one's tough because if you think about... Okay, so Lady Gaga's music, huge, but she hasn't been around as long as J-Lo. J-Lo's done more movies. You know, Lady Gaga's just starting in movies, but J-Lo's movies suck because she's not that good except for Hustler, whereas Lady Gaga is an amazing talent across the board. So it's who's more famous?
Right.
Are we talking about who's more famous?
Yes. Who do you think is more famous?
J-Lo.
J-Lo, 44%, Lady Gaga, 43%.
Oh, good. Okay, so it's close. So
it's very close.
Basically equal. Okay,
yeah,
they're
3,000 votes separates the both. 13% of people said they're equal. 794 people said, I don't know who they are.
No, but you don't have to tell me what percentage said they're equal. The fact that it's 41% to 43%, that says they're equal.
Right. Samuel L. Jackson, Will Smith.
Oh, Will Smith.
Will Smith, yeah. Yeah, 55% of people said Will Smith.
Yeah.
Sam Jackson's a better actor, but
yeah,
Will Smith is more famous. Scarlett Johansson, Jake Gyllenhaal.
That feels a little bit equal to me because
they're the same person.
Yeah, the one's the male version of the other, one's the female version of the other.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Well, I'm looking at the results here, and the results speak volumes. Scarlett Johansson, 77%.
Yeah. I was going to say the reason why she's probably more famous is because Black Widow. Again, Marvel.
So it's Marvel. Okay, Shawn Mendes, Harry Styles.
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles.
Don't even, please. Sean who?
Yeah, 80% Harry Styles.
That's it?
Yeah, 80%.
Only 80%?
Sandra Bullock, Nicole Kidman.
Probably Nicole Kidman because she's in so much stuff. She's right now doing the Ricardos. Sandra Bullock has been
Gone for a while.
Gone for a while. She's got that new movie, The Lost City, that's trying to keep her career afloat, but it doesn't seem to be doing it. Yeah, Nicole Kidman's way more famous.
58% of people said Sandy.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm happy to hear that, actually.
Because you know me, I don't like Nicole Kidman. I think she's awful. I do not understand what people see in her. I don't get her as an actress. I'm sure she's a lovely human being. I'm sure if she was sitting right here with me, she'd be lovely and sweet and nice. And as a person, I would adore her. But I just do not get her as an actress. I just think she's terrible.
Yeah, who would I marry if I had a chance to marry either of them? It would be Sandra.
Oh, Sandy. Oh, for sure.
In a heartbeat.
Way hotter.
Okay, this is a hard one. Even for me, this is hard. Will Ferrell, Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston, way more famous.
Really?
Not even, yeah. Okay. Will Ferrell has been in nothing for like 10 years. Jennifer Aniston has won dozens of awards for morning show.
Mm-hmm.
She's Jennifer Aniston. She's got tons of commercials and movies. They just did a Friends reunion we really cared about, was she and Ross like really a couple? Who's she dating? I could care less about. It always comes down to whose personal life do you want to know more about? I could give two shits about Will Ferrell's personal life. Jennifer Aniston, who's she dating now? I want to know.
Yeah, Jennifer Aniston, 70%. 1,100 people said, I don't know who they are.
Wait a minute. 1,100 people didn't know who Jennifer Aniston was. I
Or
don't believe
Will
that.
Ferrell.
Well, I could see them not knowing who Will Ferrell is. He hasn't been famous for 20 years.
Katy Perry, Selena Gomez.
Katy Perry's doing American Idol, so I think that makes her more famous now. Selena Gomez is doing Only Murders in the Building, which is a very small audience who actually have Hulu.
And can find it on Hulu.
And can find it. So I'm going to go, yeah, definitely. I love Selena Gomez, but it's probably Katy Perry.
Yeah, I'm going to vote, other than Tom Holland, it's the only one I know, Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet,
Or Tom Holland.
Oh, no, Timothy Chalamet. Oh, wait, Tom Holland.
Yeah, I don't know who Timothy is. I know who Tom is.
You know who Timothy Chalamet is.
I do.
Yeah.
Well, 80% of people said Spider-Man. So.
Well, I was going to say Tom Holland because he's Spider-Man, and B, he's dating Zendaya.
And he's Spider-Man.
And he's Spider-Man. Yeah.
Which, by the way, the new Spider-Man, very good. I give it 2 thumbs up. Who do you think is more famous? Anne Hathaway, Jessica Alba?
Oh, Anne Hathaway. Jessica Alba hasn't done anything in years. Jessica Alba is busy making baby products.
Yeah, 84% of people agree with you on that one. Steve Carell, Adam Sandler.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That's a hard one because Steve Carell's super famous. Are you watching
No.
Air Force? What's it called? Air Force, whatever that. What's that show that he's doing where he's in NASA?
Yeah, no, I can't.
On
with
Netflix?
That. I can't with that.
It's not called Air Force One, but it's something like that.
Right. I can't with that. So
yeah, it's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
It has to be Adam Sandler because well, hang on a second. Let's game this out. Adam Sandler's movies are iconic. He's one of the most watched celebrities, his movies on Netflix.
Every time he comes out with a movie on Netflix, it's number one.
It's number one. So he's beloved.
Mm-hmm.
He loves bulldogs, which, for me, that's important. But Steve Carell, aside from the bazillion movies he's done, remember, he's also in The Office, which have been having a huge resurgence.
But he's always played second fiddle in movies. When he's the lead,
true.
The movie really doesn't do well.
No, hang on. He's with Jennifer Aniston in the morning show as well.
I know, but he looks like a complete douchebag because
that's his character. His character's a douchebag.
It's hard for me to separate that. Now I think Steve Carell should be banned because he plays that part so well.
I think you just convinced me Adam Sandler's more famous.
Yeah, 57% of people said Adam Sandler. The Weeknd, Miley Cyrus.
No, they are 100% equal. I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why. The Weeknd, his music is always number one. He's like one of the most powerful musicians. What does he have? Like 7 Grammys, something like that. He's every time he puts a song out, it jumps to number one and stays there for weeks. Everybody loves him. But again, nobody cares about who he's dating unless he was dating Bella Hadid, but that was like a hot second. So no one really cares. While he is really famous, there's nothing else. We don't know anything else about him. Whereas Miley,
we know everything.
We know everything. We love her music. She was Hannah Montana. Every time she goes on SNL, it's the first time they get ratings in years.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Miley Cyrus really has whatever it is. I mean, you and I have interviewed her. We've met her. She has it.
If you called my mom and said, who do you like more, The Weeknd or Miley Cyrus? My mom has no idea who The Weeknd is.
Exactly. That's my point.
But she knows who Miley Cyrus is.
Right.
So I think Miley's more uber famous, and 81% of people agree.
Oh, good. Okay. So we gamed that one out. We were right.
Yep. Mark Wahlberg, Vin Diesel.
That one's tough because Vin Diesel, he has all those Fast and Furious movies, which are hugely popular, but that's really it.
Yeah, that's all he's got. Mark's got a bunch of movies, and they're all different.
Yeah, he's got movies that have won Oscars. He's got movies that are like stupid comedies. If you follow him on Instagram, he's always showing you how to work out.
Mm-hmm.
We have, and I'm going to drop a name again. Sorry, you and I have interviewed Mark Wahlberg, and
we could care less to interview.
He has that celebrity it. He walks into a room, he's there. He has that charm. He has the big head and the small body. All the things that celebrities have that make you just want to know more about them.